Hey, and welcome back to another episode of Magical Insight with Luke Hillis. I am in a new location right now, and it is even warmer today than it's been in any of the previous videos. I'm in this new location because I was walking to the place where I normally record these videos, and then there was somebody in a boat on the lake who was a little too close. I thought I'd feel a little more comfortable being further away. So I kept walking around the lake. And then I began to notice, it looks like there's sort of a trail going around the lake here. And I think it's leading to my meditation spot. I didn't realize that meditation spot I have in the woods, which, see, I drive to the meditation spot, and then I drive kind of a distance to get to where I do these things. And then I suddenly thought, they're actually pretty close from a walking distance. And I thought I could see right where it was, just on the other side of the lake. I thought, no way. So I got curious and I started walking around the lake, and I kept wondering, why am I not there yet? But the trail kept going on, and it turned into sort of a cross between a deer trail and a people trail, and I found quite a few magical places, and some quail just burst out of the brush next to me and freaked me out, but it was awesome. And I've had a bunch of magical moments and reflective moments being here in these woods, in these new woods that I was exploring and discovering. And now I finally got far enough that I realized that actually what I thought, basically my meditation spot is actually quite a bit further away, and I didn't realize how big this lake really is. It sort of wraps around in different ways. So I thought I was seeing the other side of it, but I really wasn't seeing the other side of it. But I had a great time exploring these woods, finding all these great places, and had such a unique, fun experience. And there's still more to explore. I'm deciding to turn back because it's time for me to get back to my regular day. But how fun to just have stumbled upon this adventure. And so that inspired me to share a principle with you that I've run into many times before, which is that a lot of great things and even life-changing things, life-changing experiences, life-changing connections, life-changing decisions often begin with what seem like inconsequential moments of boldness. So basically, today, I decided to keep walking because I wanted to get a little further away from that person in the boat. That was my first decision. Well, let me find somewhere new. And then I started to notice, I think this leads somewhere. Let me see where this goes. And then this whole adventure unfolded, and I got to have this great time. But I've experienced this in so many other kinds of contexts too. Like, here's some examples. Love and relationships. Basically, almost every relationship that I've been in, including my most recent and really most meaningful and fulfilling one, has been as the result of some little moment of being willing to say yes. Like it was like in my more recent love connection, it was this kind of awareness of, oh, I feel some connection with this person. Let me see if I can reach them. And it wasn't based on, I didn't have some foresightful, lightning striking awareness that I'd have an amazing connection with this person. It was almost like a casual decision to explore. And then it turned into this, life-changing, multi-year love connection that I had never, ever would have guessed it was at that time. And really every romantic connection I've had started with some moment of what seemed like an inconsequential step forward. Something with no real reason to have necessarily expected that something wonderful would come out of it. And it's happened with jobs for me too. That jobs that I've gotten have been these little moments like, I decided to go out to this place. Here's a very concrete example that I remember. I had this idea that I wanted to be a tennis instructor, and I did some research, and then I sent an email. I found the director of a tennis facility in the city that I was living. And I just sent them an email, and I explained some things, and blah, 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 and then I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear anything for, I think, 3 months. I'm don't know if I followed up or not. I think I just left it at that. And let's see, and I sent it to one person. And then 3 months later, I heard back from somebody saying, we've decided to hire you. And I thought, what? I was never even interviewed. I never heard from anybody. Um, and then that was great. And that was a wonderful thing. And a lot of my jobs have just been a result of being willing to put myself out there in ways that I didn't expect would end up being useful. I've stumbled into great learning this way, great authors and books and transformative knowledge. That willingness to just pick up a book and open it and see what I find. A number of books, including one of my biggest and greatest hobbies and activities of all time, being a sleight of hand magician. That came as a result of when I was 10 years old, being really curious about a book on my bookshelf that said a complete course in magic. I thought, I didn't even know where it came from. It had been there for seemingly years, and I had never picked it up. But then one day I just got the urge, the curiosity to open it. And then it began this, lifelong love of being a magician and creating magic, and it shaped my personality and how I present myself, and so much. So many things in my life have been the result of, speaking of nature, my favorite nature author is someone named Tom Brown Jr. He owns and founded the Tracker School in the Pine Barrens of New Jersey. And he's written incredible books, many of which I've read. And I remember I heard about that book. So let me tell you, I've read a bunch of his books. I've been to his school for a couple of courses. I've invested a lot of time and love and energy into his content, which was very transformative for me. But I got into his stuff because I just heard, sort of casually, from some people, oh, you should read this book called The Tracker. And somehow it stuck in my mind, but I never really thought about it. And then one day I just decided to act on it. And I came across the book and just fell in love. And it was this whole new sweeping wave chapter of my life. Or I got into men's work. That's like men's group healing. It's like shadow work specifically for men. A group called the Mankind Project. And I remember I'd heard about Mankind Project and it's called the New Warrior Weekend. And I just sort of brushed it off. But then one day I decided to go to a farmer's market. I just moved to this new city, the same one where I got the tennis job. And I decided to go to this farmer's market. I usually didn't put myself out like that, but I was just sitting there and I saw some guy talking with his daughter, and they looked like they had a really sweet connection. And I told him, I reached out, I said, hey, looks like you have a really sweet connection with your daughter. I appreciate that and admire that. The girl was like 7 or something. And he said, oh, thanks for reaching out. And we started talking, and he told me about this men's group. I said, oh, I've heard of that, but I've never done anything. And he said, well, why don't you come? I'm in a circle here. We have a circle here in the city. And so I went, and then this whole new wave of my life. If I hadn't gone to the farmer's market, if I hadn't seen him with his daughter and been willing to say something to him, these whole life-changing chapters of my life would have never happened. Now, most little inconsequential, seemingly inconsequential decisions I make really are seemingly inconsequential. But the ones that aren't, the ones that are life-changing, the ones that are life-changing make up for all the ones that aren't. So what I'm here to advocate is I invite you to make a habit of doing little bold things. The little bold things are a lot more transformative than you expect. You don't have to do big bold things. Little bold things, little ways of saying yes, little ways of taking a step forward, little ways of exploring. Because every once in a while, you come across a thread of something of real treasure that can transform your life in such magnificent ways that you could have never predicted or imagined or, designed for yourself. It's that willingness to step into nature's magic and say yes and see what's there, and you never know. And often enough, it's wonderful. I hope you've enjoyed. Please feel free to subscribe and share the video, comment, contact me. I'd love to hear from you. And see you soon.